Welcome to the Care Sis podcast with me, Ki, and Kiki.
Join two friends for a conversation around self-care in real life. We'll talk about anything on the spectrum from bubble baths to setting boundaries to managing friendships and more.
As your sisters, we also just want to provide a weekly check-in. You know, like big sis asking little sis, sis, you good? So come on in, sis. Let's talk about how we can take better care of ourselves. What's up, Kiki?
Hey, Ki. How are you?
Girl, I feel like crap. I done went out in these streets, in these familial streets. That's what's so bad about this whole thing. I was just with my family. One like I was like out in the streets. I was just with my family, and here I go coming back from the holiday, and I got some type of cootie.
Yeah, you sound like you got a cootie. Only because you don't sound as bubbly as you usually are.
And I am hanging on by a thread.
So I'm sorry that you have the cooties.
I'm in that space where like you can feel the congestion coming. And I don't really know what to do to stop it. And somebody's gonna be like, CMOS, and then I'm gonna be mad.
I mean, I don't subscribe to the CMOS because I don't know much about it. But the regular stuff is what? Lemon tea and ginger and all that stuff.
I've had some of that today. And I typically feel good like right after that, like after I drink it.
Mm-hmm.
And like right now we're in a good place. I had some soup, and of course, because I wasn't planning on getting sick, all I had was ramen. Mm-hmm. So I've had some ramen, I had some tea. I got some peppermint tea to get me, look, it's real. I got some peppermint tea to get me through this and a cough drop in my pocket. I'm ready to go. We're going to get through it.
We are. We're going to get through it.
Mm-hmm. How was your week? How was your holiday?
I didn't do a lot. We didn't do much this holiday. It was just literally me and my parents. And Thursday, it was us. We ate and chilled out the rest of the day. Me and my mom did go see Black Panther on Friday. You know what? You sick, and I'm gonna be nice to you because you sick, but you can keep your little smirk to yourself and your thank God.
Listen, this. I had you at least another 2 weeks, so I'm pretty proud.
I don't need your proudness. I was gonna see it anyway.
Yeah, I just didn't expect you to see it so soon. Like it just came out.
Well, I mean, the best time to go see it is when nobody's there. Cause I don't, people love to go to the premiere stuff. I don't want to be in a crowd and a bunch of black people in the theater yelling and screaming and doing whatever they're doing. I don't really want that either. So me and my mama picked like 11:30 in the morning. Was it 11? No, 12:30. We picked 12:30 because people most likely were at the mall when we went to go see the movie, which the mall is right across the street. So
the people was there. Yeah,
it was literally about maybe 10 to 15 people in the theater, and that was it.
Oh wow!
So it was very nice.
Yeah, people still aren't going to the movies like that. I've been to a couple movies the latter portion of this year, and people still aren't to movies like that. Now, Black Panther, I went with my sorority, so we had a whole theater to ourselves, so it was packed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, even when I went and saw Woman King, I saw something else in the movies.
Oh yeah, Woman King, we didn't have. It was hardly anybody in the theater when we went to see that. Yeah, a lot of people are just streaming stuff and waiting until it comes on some streaming service. I actually like the theater experience, but that's just me.
I love the theater experience and some theater popcorn.
And we saw it in 3D, I guess.
Huh?
So we saw it in 3D. I didn't know it was shot in 3D, which is interesting.
I didn't know it was shot in 3D either. I saw that option and I was like,
I mean, it didn't matter which one I was going to see. We just happened to go to the 12:30 3D experience. So
Gotcha.
it was good.
Huh?
I said it was good. We'll talk about it another time.
Hey.
So that was my weekend. How was your weekend with your family?
I did get saved from having to do another cuff it challenge. So Thanksgiving's a big holiday for my mama's side of the family because it's my mama's birthday, and she's the oldest girl. Yes, she's the oldest girl, so everybody gets together for Thanksgiving to not only celebrate Thanksgiving but to celebrate my mom's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And so my mama had warned me. She was like, she's so cute. You know that Beyonce challenge? I think I want to do that for my birthday. The Cuff It song. I think I want to do that for my birthday. So innocent. So, she knew what she was doing. She knew that I am so over that challenge. I don't need to see not Nan another Cuff It challenge.
What you gotta do with your mama?
But apparently everybody had the idea to do it with their family this weekend. Like all you saw, like your timeline on Thursday and going into Friday was plates and cuff it challenge. Plates and cuff it challenge.
That's why I stayed off of social media.
I was cracking. But I was saved. We didn't end up doing the cuff it challenge. However, I have an aunt. She's not crazy religious, but she team Jesus, like for real, like, and not afraid to show it, right? Mm-hmm. So sis was saying, "Oh, I love that Beyonce song," and me and my cousin, "Oh, really?" She's like, "Yeah," but when she says "cuff it," are they talking, about cuffs? Because I know Beyonce, and I was like, "No, auntie, not. That's not no." She goes, "Well, what are they talking about?" So I had to pull up the lyrics on my cousin's TV for my auntie. And my auntie is brown skinned, and I just saw her blush a little bit. That pretty much made my weekend. That pretty much made my weekend. Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, that's a good segue into what we're going to talk about later. But we're going to go into your favorite segment.
My favorite segment? No, that's your favorite segment. You're the one to name this segment, so this is your segment, sis.
Okay, I can't sing today, though, so you got to do it.
Okay. For the culture, 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 we gonna get into some topics.
She had a verse, y'all. She getting a verse.
I mean, it sounds good, though,
It sounds good. It sounds good.
So we're going to get into it.
Yep.
First, with the updates in the Shanquella Robinson case, which I think did they do a warrant for one of their arrests? I can't remember which one it was. I should have looked it up beforehand.
They extradited 2 of the people, or they're in the process of extraditing 2 of the people. They identified the person that was, I don't know if the person was filming or it's just the person whose voice that you hear in the video where they're like, "Shanquella, are you at least gonna fight?" They identified that person. They're extraditing him, and they identified the girl in the video that's like slinging sis around. They identified her. So they're extraditing those 2. As far as the other ones, I think what's going to happen to them is TBD. I owe the people an apology because last week I was just like, I don't know what's going to happen because Mexico kind of mind their business. I am surprised that Mexico is doing the extradition. However, we as Americans have made a lot of noise. So kudos to you people out there, making all the noise. The FBI did get involved. And I don't know. Personally, I have more questions than answers at this point. I had settled in my mind previously. Okay, so we saw sis get drug around the hotel room. The spinal cord injury, that was the cause of her death. But now that may not be the cause of her death. The cause of her death may be, I think, a cardiac arrest or something like that. But to be fair, to know like medical stuff, right? If your body goes into shock because your spinal cord or because your back broke, yeah, you might have a heart attack. So it's all still kind of consistent, but and I'm a little disappointed at the reporting that's happening around it, because that's still consistent. That's still consistent. If her body went into shock because, you know, her spinal cord was severed, heart attack makes perfect sense. But the way they're reporting is like, oh my God, breaking news and new. Huh?
I said not really, but yeah.
Yeah. The only thing new was supposedly the time of the death is like off. Apparently they called somebody to come check on her. I can't tell because I've read two different things, but it's like they came to check on her. They told them then, yo, y'all need some, because I think they called the police, and the police came and said y'all need to call the paramedics. Either way, so 3 hours later she was pronounced dead. So I guess the big breaking news is the fact that like the friends had a more clear idea of what was happening, as opposed to oh, she was sick and she died and we didn't know anything. So
of course, they were there. Like I
don't know how you didn't know. From what I understand, they had rented like a private villa, so it was just them, and then the chef. So y'all had to know what was going on. But that was, again, something that was clear last week. So I don't know. It's still very sad. And I just keep praying that, you know, this woman has peace, because I don't know what answer she's still going to get. Because, you know what I mean? Like them being extradited to Mexico, this is down on Mexico to prosecute and exert the punishment. So the only thing I could say is if they end up going to Mexican prison, that's probably not a good thing. But you also killed somebody, so.
I mean, I don't know. Like you said, I don't know what other answers we're going to get right now. I don't know what the family is looking for. Are they looking for like a specific name? Because we have a lot of evidence against who beat her and who was saying whatever to her in the video, but there's still that mystery of what actually made her, or who actually snapped her neck and all that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to know, because then that's going to trigger something in you, and you don't know what the parents want to do with that information.
As someone who's been a victim of a violent crime like that in my family, you want to know why, right? And those answers just kind of never come. And then sometimes when you hear the why, it just really doesn't, it's not comforting at all. Like I shared with you guys a couple weeks ago that my family was murdered, and in the court case, the guy, the court kind of gets down to what happened, right? They don't really care the whys and the how. They don't really care the whys. They more so go into the hows. And maybe it's different in Mexico, right? Now, I will say that, like, I think dude had done like an interview or something and was asked why. And I mean, really, he was just in a crass kind of like egotistical, narcissistic space in that moment. And he was just like, to see if I can get away with it, right? Nobody wants to hear that about their family members.
Right.
And, you know, I don't know that her mom will ever hear this podcast, but maybe, because we blowing up. But I just want to offer her the comfort that, like, find the comfort in there, but she may never know the real why, right? Yeah, that's all I have to offer, is you just kind of don't want to know the why. Some people are just evil.
That's what it comes down to sometimes, though. And that's all you can take is They're just evil. Because
Mhm.
that sounds like a just evil response. Because I can to see if I can get away with it. What normal person would say that
Exactly.
in regards to a death? But anyway, on to the next, shall we?
Come on to the next.
Um, and you sent me this, but Quinta Brunson, the creator of Abbott Elementary and one of the stars of Abbott Elementary, did an interview and was basically saying how she loves her relationship with her husband because he does not dim her light or try to dim her light. He allows her to be herself. And what better way to be in a relationship than to be yourself and not having to put on a front, not having to please the other person in a way that you're not comfortable. I mean, what else can you say to that? Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that what we all want to strive for?
Listen, I am just happy to see this Black woman being loved properly.
Right.
And that's all I got. Like, it's hard enough being a creative and finding someone to actually fit you and suit you.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that she feels like she is in a safe space where she can be her, she can be heard, and she can just be, right? Because she's very much a creative. And you often hear a lot from other creatives that it's hard for them to find somebody because, you know, they need someone to let them be them and give them space and blah, 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 blah. So I'm just really, really happy for her. And especially in a day and time of there's so much man versus woman stuff, right?
Oh my gosh.
You know, you have the argument of the traditional man or the traditional relationship and so on and so forth. And I mean, what it sounds like from what she said is like they ain't worried about none of that. Like she gets to be her. And so whether that's traditional gender roles or whether she cooks for him at 2:00 in the morning, like he's okay with it.
Mm-hmm. I don't even think it has, well, it probably does have a lot to do with the traditional roles, but being a creative, when you have somebody that is constantly creating things and having to like pull away to do projects, some people who are, I guess, more dependent they won't be able to deal with that because you're always getting pulled to this place and that place, doing this project and that project. And from what she said in the article, he doesn't do that. Like he's not saying, "Oh, well, you need to step back from this because I need you to be with me, or I need your attention." It's like, go ahead and do what you got to do. I feel like I need that because
I don't even want to talk about it.
I
I
just don't
would say that
need I just don't need somebody to like try to stop me from doing what I want to do, especially when it comes to creating all these projects that we're doing and that I'm doing and that you're doing. Like I can't.
might not be me. Um, might not be me. Uh, yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, I also say that you know she's been married for a year, so
It's still
everything
new.
yeah everything's still new and good. So I want to update in about 6 years,
I was
and
about
I
to
hope
say we're
that
gonna need to see that 5-year mark at least, and then another 10-year.
right, right. I'm praying for her. Like I'm on Team Sis, but I also want to see what happens in the next because I don't know how long they've been together, but I do know they just got married in 2021. So
Right.
good
That's
luck for
also another good point. We'll see, right?
we'll see. Um, Olivia Pichardo, I think that's her name.
Mm-hmm.
She is the first woman to make the roster of a Division I baseball team at Brown University. Just give it up for sis.
Woo! Okay.
Just breaking gender lines and stuff like that. Like, I love it. This has been her dream since she was 8th grade. She's on the Is this right? The USA baseball women's national team?
That's what it said in the article.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know women had a baseball team, but okay. I think it's cool. It just shows, the diversity being displayed at our colleges and universities. Because typically, I don't, this isn't to dim anyone's light, but typically at your colleges and universities, women play softball, men play baseball. She's at a D1 school. So for context, I went to the University of North Carolina, and it's a D1 school, and we had women's softball, men's baseball. So now she could actually play against Carolina. They're not, those conferences almost never meet, but still. Yeah. So I think it's cool. It leads into a bigger conversation of this whole Title IX thing. I was having a conversation with someone that is less than accommodating. We'll use that word. He's less than accommodating. And we got into this conversation of like trans people and how this interferes with Title IX. And I don't quite understand how it interferes with Title IX, so I just kind of the conversation. But, we got into this conversation about how trans, for example, he has daughters. So trans women are, being able to participate in women's sports and how that gives them the unfair advantage and so on and so forth. And he wanted me to agree that this was unfair to his daughters. And I was like, is it? Like, I don't, then where are those people supposed to go? Do we have now a whole trans league? Like, come on. Like, your average high school can't even afford uniforms, let alone have 3 women's sports, or like have a men's sports and women's sports and then a trans. Come on. Like, no. And at some point you got to get over it, and you got to begin to accept these trans people for who they are. So let them go where they say they are supposed to go. It's going to take sports to a new level. And I feel like she's going to do the same thing. So I really feel like Sis is just opening the doors for other women to come through. And, for all those little girls who feel like they are stuck playing softball, you are not. You can play baseball. I just hope this actually she can go further, right? Like, I hope she's really that good that she actually gets picked up for a minor league and just keep going. Keep going, friend.
Right.
I'm still not watching baseball, but keep going.
Yeah, not for me. But we're going to support you from afar, sis. We're going to say your name wherever we go. Okay.
I'll buy a jersey. Not coming to a game, but I'll buy a jersey.
Support is support, right?
And my favorite person that gets on my nerves these days, Kanye West.
Oh, God. What did I miss?
Adidas has decided to move forward with selling Yeezys.
Oh, yeah. I saw that. I did see that.
This man is just taking all sorts of L's this year.
I mean, I have nothing to say about Kanye, honestly.
So Adidas is moving forward with Yeezys. One, he decided to take a bunch of Balenciaga and put Ye 24 on there. So I guess that's his announcement that he's running for president again.
Please, God, no.
And then he's selling like each piece for $20. Kanye fans are saying this is genius because it's gonna bring down the value of Balenciaga. Is it really? Because I think Balenciaga's still gonna sell they audacious shit for those audacious prices and not be affected. I'm also curious, like from a legal standpoint, you got so many people that get into like copyright stuff, and like, can he just do that? Can he just take some straight up Balenciaga and put his name on it?
I don't think so. Unless he has a deal with them, because I don't think he can do that.
Well, I think that relationship got severed last year.
Makes sense, but I mean, that's not his shoe. He can put it. I don't know. Did he spray paint on his shoe? What did he do? He marked it on his shoe.
Got the shoe, Balenciaga close.
Kanye. It's Kanye.
That's it. It's just Kanye.
Kanye.
He's truly that cousin of the family that you'd be like,
But okay.
speaking of cousins and family, let's go on and get into this topic.
Oh, Lord. Shall we? So y'all know Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is over. And we are so thankful for it. Not only because we get back to our cozy homes that we are both sitting in right now, and that we get back into our everyday routines. I don't know if that's good for everybody or not. Some of us need a vacation from the vacation, but it's all good. We in the house.
I'm just excited to be able to control my own temperature and my own noises. Woo! I can listen to the television, actually, if I want to listen to television. Or it can be silent if it can be silent. But more importantly, I get to control the thermostat.
That is true. That is true.
That's probably why I got a cold now. Because I was fucking freezing at my cousin's house.
Probably so. I was freezing at my parents' house too. But
people take little things for granted, like controlling thermostats and temperatures.
That you're right about. But we happy to be back, y'all. We happy.
Happy as
the holiday is over. Okay. And also,
when I got back to my house yesterday, I just sat still in silence for like an hour. I just
Can I tell you something? You know what I told you today when I was coming back? I was still at my parents' house. When I came back today, I literally sat in silence for hours. I mean, I was scrolling, but I sat in silence.
No, ma'am, I didn't stroll nothing. I was just in silence. But yes, you feel me.
Sometimes you just gotta sit in the environment and readjust to being in the environment that you're used to.
With temperature that I can control.
So we're thankful to be back, right, sis? And we also thankful to not have to deal with these crazy questions from our aunties and our uncles and some of our cousins and our parents and our grandparents and just anybody that comes with a question that ain't seen you in a while. We just glad we ain't got to deal with that no more, right? So what kind of questions we talking about? We talking about, hey, Ki, so when you get married, girl, where is your boyfriend? You gonna bring somebody home soon? When you gonna have some kids?
It was a bunch of those.
Those are the questions we're talking about, y'all. The questions that we get asked over and over again every single holiday where there's a family gathering. And you know what? It's bad enough that you get asked that at Thanksgiving. You probably gonna hear the same questions at Christmas. Less than a month later. So I don't know, But anyway, today that's what we're talking about. We are both single women. We do not have children yet, which is not a bad thing. And we are women of a certain age, which is what triggers these questions for people. We're not gonna tell y'all what that is. But you know when people start asking these questions, you over a certain age. That's all we're gonna say. As Ki would say. You look stressed, sis.
I mean, I have to admit, right? I don't get these questions as much anymore I think my family, if you flick them off enough or give them enough of that, they eventually stop asking. I think we've gotten there, but I really did have to take that stance because, it was like, hey, your life, I don't want it. I don't want it. So, however, I still do. So, like, they don't ask me about like my relationship, because I just kind of be like, so I don't know who my parents or who my family thinks I'm dating, not dating. They just I'd be like, yep. That's how the conversation usually goes. Now, I did this weekend though. Somebody did get into the so, do you want kids? I was like, I want to mind my business over here with this turkey. That's what I'm finna do. And that's how the conversation went. So yeah, I just pretty much like cut it off like right at the neck. Like I don't do that. However, I felt it pertinent to talk about this conversation because I engaged in that behavior and I had to check myself. I was like, oh, ooh, shit. Ooh, because one of my younger cousins was there, and yeah, so the aunts were sitting around, and they were just like, "So such and such, when you?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I was like the breath, like I felt it right here, because I was like, "You didn't." So I kind of understand, like it's a curiosity thing, and in my family, it's still, for the most part, it's still lighthearted, and it's still like a thing out of genuine curiosity, because I know since COVID, it's literally been a year since we've been seeing each other. So, and my family gets together for Thanksgiving and that's it. Like, we tend to do Christmas with our other sides of the family. So this side of the family, we get together for Thanksgiving, and definitely since 2019, we've only seen each other at Thanksgiving. So it really is catching up. So I try not to give them some flack, but trust me, in 2018, I was ready to throw hands. Cause yeah, it was a whole lot of maybe not 2018, but yeah, a couple of years ago. Yep. I'd come to Thanksgiving prepared to throw hands because it was just a lot of those questions. And I'd just be like, I need y'all. First off, mind your business. Like it was There's a lot of that.
That's the theme of this episode, y'all. First off, mind your business. That's our topic today. Mind your business. Okay. So we're gonna talk about it. I will admit that this year I didn't have to deal with those questions because it was literally just me and my parents. And you okay? You spilling tea over there?
Apparently there's a hole in my lip. Yep, we good.
Well, at least it's that kind of tea and not like actual tea on people or nothing like that, because we don't gossip. No, but luckily this year I didn't have to deal with that. It irritates me, I guess, because I'm like one of the last people in my age group that doesn't have either the relationship or the kids. And every time there's a conversation, even if it is lighthearted and they start talking about kids, it's always like a swivel of the head, like, when are you going to have kids? It's your turn next. And I hate that shit. I really do. It irks my nerves every time because I'm a person that gets embarrassed very easily. So like if everybody's just swiveling their heads around at me, even if it's in a moment of like lightheartedness, I'm gonna turn beet red and I'm gonna feel some type of way about it. Like, don't put that on me. I don't need everybody to be asking me the same question at one time. Don't give me that pressure. I don't like it.
Yeah, she don't like it, y'all. She don't like it.
I don't like it.
So surprising enough, the adults in my life are cool. But I think I've shared with y'all where I had to have a conversation with my mom one time. She was hitting me up with the grandkids nonsense, and then my dad was coming at the, when you just gonna get married and settle down nonsense. And so, I had to pull my mom aside and just like, hey friend, listen, everything about your life seems hellish to me. You go to the same job that you've been working for the last umpteen years. Like my mom was at her last job for about a good 15 years.
Was that too much to stomach, sis?
Y'all know I don't feel good. So yeah, she was at her last job for like 15 years. And she complained 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then she got her husband / my daddy. She got her husband, and you know, he seems to get on her nerves. He definitely gets on mine sometimes. I love my daddy, but he's definitely he's a Scorpio man. They require a lot of attention.
I thought that was mean in general. Okay. Go ahead, sis.
Anyway, so yeah, she complained about him. She complained about her job. She complained about us kids. I'm just like, I don't want that. So if y'all are looking at me to duplicate or replicate that, it's not gonna happen. We should just go on and put that to bed right now. And that seemed to work. I don't get the shit from my parents. Do you know who I do get it from? My motherfucking nephew.
Oh, the kids.
Let me just tell you, that was stressful. Because I try to be honest with my nephew at all times. My nephew is 14. He has questions. I am auntie. I am here to answer them, right? And so this is where life just gets complicated, because it's hard for me to tell my nephew, or it's hard for me to verbalize, period, right? Like, one of the reasons why I don't have kids is, one, I kind of sort of forgot. Let me tell you why. So, you know, you get out of college and you think, all right, you're going to meet this man, or you might even, like, I thought I was going to meet my man in college. Didn't happen. So when that didn't happen, I was like, well, shit. So I left UNC. I moved to DC, and I was living my motherfucking life. Like 20-year-olds in DC, you worried about happy hour, networking, all sorts of things, but kids and settling down isn't a priority in your 20s, right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a priority in my 20s, and that's where I lived in my 20s going into my 30s. I lived in the DC area. I wasn't thinking about that. Now, when you do start to get late 20s, you do start to be like, well, come through, where are all the men at? And things just got difficult. And I never wanted to be a single mom, ever. So my thing was American dream or bust, right? I wanted the picket fence. I wanted the house. I wanted the 2-car garage, the 0.5 kids. Yeah, I did want kids, but I wanted a total package. I never wanted to do it by myself. And so even when it came to dating and, meeting potential men, who I dated and who I wanted to be the father of my children, kind of different. Yeah, we could hang out, go to dinner, whatever, but I don't think I want to date and marry you, or I don't think I want to marry and procreate with you, right? So here we are. I'm going into my 30s. Then in my 30s, I started pursuing school again. So next thing I know, I look up and I'm in my late 30s and I haven't had kids. And I'm like, well, damn. And that's also kind of how my relationships went too. Like, sure, in my 20s, I was playing around, whatever. In my 30s, I got to a place where I was like, yeah, I want to settle down. But then when I started getting into school, I was like, yeah, I'm going to just go study because you tripping. And so, yeah. So that's what kind of happened. I kind of forgot to settle down and have kids. Here I am 40, like, but where everybody at though? They're all settled down with kids.
But do you think you forgot, or it was just the people you were encountering? It just, like you said, they just weren't the people that you wanted to procreate with.
It definitely wasn't a priority. It just wasn't. I didn't invest that type of effort into dating and whatever, being with somebody enough to even yield that outcome because I was focused on other things. So fast forward, here I am in my 40s, and I love science. I am of science minds, and this is probably, then Lord, and then I speak to religious people, and I'm gonna just stop talking to y'all. How about that? So anyway, of the science mind, when you get into your 40s, even late 30s, you are at advanced maternal age for having kids. And so that's when the complications come with pregnancy. That's not only the complications come with pregnancy, your eggs are kind of scrambling. So that's also when you're having your genetic defects with your kids. That's, you're seeing women having kids later in life. You're also seeing kids with higher rates of your autism, your ADHD, your dyslexia, your all sorts of neurodivergence, or even like physical deformity, all that other stuff that tends to happen when you're of advanced maternal age. I really don't want to put myself in that position because back to my ideal image, right? Like I also imagine my kid leaving the house. And a lot of people don't think about is when you have a child with disabilities, they don't leave. Or they definitely don't leave at like in their 20s. Sometimes, like I have a friend, she's a friend of the family. Her brother has really bad, I think it's autism. He had really advanced, he has that Rain Man disease. I think it's called Asperger's.
Asperger's.
And that is on the autism spectrum. But he had, he was so deep. I don't know the word you use, deep, bad.
Or far on the spectrum, I guess.
He was so far on the spectrum. He stayed with their parents. He's just recently moved into a adult home for people with disabilities because one parent has died and the other one's in a nursing home. So like that wasn't the vision for my life either, is to have a child with a disability. And here we are. I'm 80, they're 40. And we living together. That's not my vision either. So I'm kind of on the, well, it ain't happened yet. Or it hasn't happened. It might not happen. That's where I currently am. And that was a difficult conversation to have with my nephew. Cause he's just like, and he doesn't quite, he's 14. So he just sees me as old. But you know who else is old? His mama. And his mama's not as old as me, but whatever. So his mama's old, and his mom just had a baby. So, well, if mama just had a baby, why can't auntie have a baby? Your mama also got a husband. So that's where then the conversation goes into, well, when you gonna get a husband, auntie? And that's when I just kind of want to put them in a headlock and, shut up, little boy, go away now. You'll never want to talk to me, but here you come with all these questions. And then that's another question that's, kind of difficult to answer because, and maybe it's me. I'm willing to say it's me, but dating is hard.
It's not you. I feel like I hear the same conversation everywhere.
I need liquor in this right now to have this dating conversation.
That's a whole conversation for another day. Because we have this conversation often, me and my mom. And she's more understanding than my stepdad, I think. But she knows, she's like, listen, dating is hard. When she tries to explain it to him, and God help him, because she's like, listen, relationships are hard. And we had this conversation about another family member this weekend. And I was literally trying to tell him, I'm like, do you think he wants to get married? Or do you are there are other questions you have to answer other than why doesn't he have a girlfriend? There are other questions you have to answer or ask him. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that people look at me and say the same thing, like, she don't bring nobody home. I don't know, like, well, your boyfriend, are you gay?
And listen, I need my family to understand right now. The next time I bring a man home, trust and believe we're probably already married. Because I'm not putting them through that.
Right.
And then, like, having seen my cousins do it, family gets used to a certain dude or a certain woman, and my family isn't so bad as to compare them in that moment. But oh my God, behind their back, well, you know, such used to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So no, trust and believe the next man to come home to Thanksgiving with me, there is a ring on my finger. Maybe an engagement ring, maybe a whole wedding ring. I don't know. It depends. But that's the next man I'm bringing home.
I mean, sounds reasonable to me. I don't see anything wrong with that. But I think people have to think about these questions. Like, your nephew he's a kid. We understand they're gonna ask questions for days. But these adults, like, y'all gotta be mindful what you're saying to people or what you're asking people in the moment. Ask them, do they want to be married? Do they want to be in a relationship? Because some people take breaks from dating, from relationships. That shit is hard. If you just got out of a bad relationship or you broke up in a bad way, like, why would you want to go and jump back out there? I mean, some people do it, but
right. I was gonna say.
I mean, I don't have the capacity. You said what?
Those ex-wives do it a lot.
That's true. That's why a lot of them just jump from relationship to relationship.
We're gonna get hate mail for this. Anyway, yeah, it's like there's other things. Like, I get that y'all, and especially now that we are of auntie and uncle age, y'all, I get that there are, you are curious, or you might even be concerned about your family member, but like, proceed with caution, proceed with care and compassion, because for some people it's hard. And then here's the other thing, right? Like, it is also hard to keep coming to family occasions, family events without that kid,
right,
and without the significant other. It's hard. And so, because we already know in our heads we're gonna have to hear your mouth.
mm-hmm.
But already, like, and I don't know if this is Thanksgiving is an American thing, but the way our culture is, like, Thanksgiving and all of our holidays are all about family anyway. Mm-hmm. And so you want to be with your significant other. And if you don't have one, there's that. And maybe you're talking to somebody and you're just not ready to put them through the pressure of, because if you come to my house, like, I'm just going to warn anybody who's looking at me a certain kind of way through my podcast. Hey, yeah. Like, if you looking at me, I need you to understand that when you go to Thanksgiving, my auntie calls it the council. They literally sit you down and just, like, ask you a whole bunch of questions, rapid fire. It's one after another. Don't nobody want to go through that, honestly. Mm-hmm. It's got to happen, though. But my aunt cracked me up this weekend because she was talking about it. And because my brother's girlfriend came through. My brother's girlfriend came through, and she's cool. But my aunt was like, she didn't go before the council. And I was like, Auntie, I'm trying to be all polite. Maybe we should leave that council thing alone. I don't know. Maybe we should let it, just kind of die. And she was like, oh, no. It's important because we pick out red flags with that. And then here I'm thinking, are you going to tell them about it now? Like, because that I haven't seen. I haven't seen the council convene and then y'all actually go back and say, well, here's what we deduced. I ain't never seen that. Y'all just be polite and let the train wreck happen.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with the questions to whoever they are, but, like, in front of everybody, that's an interrogation at some point. Like, they already terrified to come to the house. Like, and you about to make them even more traumatized and terrified.
I'm not doing it. I told you, it's going to be a ring attached to the man that comes through. Listen, I wouldn't want to go through it, and I'm not finna put him through it. So if you listening, boo, that's why you didn't get invited.
Let those conversations be side conversations, like auntie to niece, like if my aunt comes to me, in a corner somewhere, like, listen, what's been going on with you, sweetie? What's been going on with your dating life? Tell me about it. Then I might tell you, especially if we close. But if I don't talk to you that often, I'll be like, oh, nothing.
No, see, the problem with my family is the sisters are close. You tell one, you might as well have told all of them.
Yeah, that too. See, that's why nobody don't want to talk to y'all. That's why nobody want to talk to y'all, because y'all be doing this to each other. And we already know, we bring somebody home, y'all question them, they say one wrong thing. The whole council is back again. Y'all hear what he said? Yeah. Oh my, no. I hope she ain't dealing with that. Oh my God, no, she can't do this.
I can't have a sidebar conversation with none of my aunts because my mama might not find out immediately, but or everybody gonna find out eventually, and eventually in the next couple weeks. They might not know tomorrow, but they gonna find out. Yeah, so the sisters are close. So yeah, no. Nope.
They be in their group chats and on their phone calls and all this stuff.
And I'm in the group chat. I'm in one of the group chats, and they have no problem voicing their opinions. Y'all know I'm in this chat, right? They don't care.
No, they're past the age of caring.
Y'all know me and my cousin are in this group chat, and y'all just gonna say they don't care. They don't care. So yeah. But yeah, watch how you approach people. One thing that came to mind this weekend for me, and I made a little post about don't be an asshole. So there's this social media chick named Erica Lachey, right? Gorgeous, gorgeous girl. And her kind of niche, her kind of shtick is about like the Black family.
Oh God.
Well, okay, so you already know where I'm going with this. So anyway, she heard an interview with Billy Porter, and Billy Porter's in, I think it's Enchanted.
Maybe.
He's in some new movie, and he gets to be a fairy, which I feel like that is a clever play on words because that used to be a term for gay men back in the day. Anyway, I digress. It was a derogatory term, but still. So anyway, he gets to be a fairy, and he is a genderless fairy or a non-gender conforming fairy. And he made a comment, something about, listen, the kids are ready. It's the adults holding them back. Well, she went on this tirade talking about how that is predatory towards our kids. And I was like, what? So it just got me to thinking, because I saw this interview like Wednesday, maybe Tuesday or I saw it Tuesday, then I saw it again on Wednesday. Someone else like reposted it. And all I keep thinking about is we have, and I don't know if it's an overabundance or just more people talk about it, but you hear a lot about kids younger and younger and younger questioning their identity, questioning their sexuality. The last thing I need, or the last thing we need when we're supposed to be family holidays, and especially holidays where we haven't been together, like the last thing you should have the audacity to even think about having the audacity about is to come questioning kids and questioning, other family members when they're dealing with all sorts of shit. We got inflation. Pepper costs $5. Pepper costs $5. Water is expensive. Like, there's so much going on. And then here you are further confusing or further making life difficult because someone's struggling again with their identity, with their sexuality, with their gender. Like, and here you come with your homophobia or with your misogyny or with your transphobia. Like, don't be that person. Just,
well, now that you say that, and we're talking about the questions that we get, imagine how a lot of people in the LGBTQ community feel, because a lot of the Christian aunties and grandparents and parents, they're like, this is wrong. And they basically can't bring anyone home because they're scared of the comments they're going to get. They're scared of the that they're not going to be invited back. And there's a lot of families out there that do not invite people or tell them don't bring your significant other home, especially if they're of the same sex.
Right. So my heart goes out to, like, I'm dealing with somebody asking me when I'm going to get married. I could not imagine if I was struggling with my sexuality.
Right.
And I had to hear them same ass questions.
Mm-hmm.
When you gonna bring a man home? But I like women and I haven't been able to tell y'all because of who y'all are. Or when you gonna bring a husband home? And I'm whole ass questioning my gender. Like, I don't even know that I'm a real woman, want to bring home a man. Like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. So
a whole different layer of
crazy. So yeah, I kind of wish we would have put this out before Thanksgiving, but
right.
Mind your business. Like, mind your business and let people talk to you. Like, let people talk to you. And then don't go telling your little raggedy siblings, because we don't need it in the group chat.
We don't need all the tea spilled everywhere. We don't need that. Okay? We already don't want to talk to you as it is, and you want to go and spill more tea. That's why we don't want to talk to you in the first place. Okay?
Then I saw this other, I did a lot of scrolling this weekend, y'all.
Everybody did. I said everybody did.
Yeah. So I saw this other, I don't even remember what platform it was on, but this other video. And this guy was saying he is a like elderly butler or something. So I think he like goes and performs tasks around the home for elderly people or whatnot. And he says, you know, in his experience, when he sees elderly people whose families don't come around, you know, when he actually gets to talking to people, it's usually because that parent has been a dick or has been an ass or has been a horrible person, has been a horrible parent. And, you know, I feel my heart goes out to parents because I recognize, and me and my mom have had this conversation extensively, but, you know, like, parents don't get a instruction manual. You know what? I mean, you know, and not only that, like, as a parent, even if you got 2 kids, those 2 kids aren't the same. You can't raise them the same. You can't discipline them the same. Yet sometimes for your sanity, for your, or the way you are, a lot of people do. And that's where a discord begins in the first place. Because, like, I think about the way I grew up, right? My older brother's my half brother. He lived with his mom a good majority of the time and then would come visit us. And when he would come to visit, my dad, that's when my dad got into, no, boys can do this and girls can do that. And I hated it. I resented my dad and my big brother for a long time because I would just be like, why he get to stay? Because me and my brother are a year apart. So why he get to stay out longer than I can? We're a year apart. Right. So you have those type of things. Or, you know, you look at parents that, like, say, punish their kids the same way. Mm-hmm. And so my parents would do that to me and my brother. They would punish us the same way. Punishing me as a teenager, oh, take my phone privileges. That's all you had to do. I'm like, oh, God. Like, because my phone was an extension of my life. Mm-hmm. My brother, on the other hand, he was like, I don't talk on the phone, no way. Right. So he wasn't affected. And I was so mad. So yeah, parents, you know, I do feel sorry for them because they don't, you know what I mean? They just be out here in these streets trying to do the best they can. I get that on one hand.
Right.
Yeah. So the butler guy was saying that parents that don't get visited, like, late in their late stage of life, are usually parents that have been bad parents. And I know parents get a bad rap, but, you know, as a kid, looking at my parents, I have learned to recognize, and I've had the privilege of being around my parents a lot during COVID. So I got to see them as just 2 adults, not mom and dad, right? And that is a blessing. And I encourage anybody to just kind of spend more time with your parents as adults, like, just straight up as adults, if you have that luxury to do so, because you kind of just learn, like, they didn't mean it, right? They didn't mean it. when you learn a lot more about like the way your mom was raised or your parents were raised, and you see that you were literally just a consequence of two people or one person just doing the best they could, right? And even we're all aware that sometimes even parenting, co-parenting isn't fair, and one parent has more responsibility than the other. And again, just, people out here doing the best they can. I'm in therapy now, and my therapist, we have recognized that I'm in a period of life where I am protecting my 13-year-old self. And it's funny because I really could just look at everything and I could take the approach that that's all my daddy's fault. That's all my mama's fault. I could take that approach. But, I recognize my parents kind of didn't know no better. And I think for humans in general, you have broken pieces of you and then you procreate, right? So you're a broken person and then you just create another person that you end up breaking. And it's not intentional. But I think that we all should be just a little bit more mindful to be more mindful in our parenting, in our relationships, period. Like as a sister, I'm trying to be more mindful to my big head brothers. I said trying. I'm trying to be a better aunt. So, I'm just trying to be more mindful because people out here just trying to do their best. And pepper costs $5.
I mean, that just flows into our conversation, right? What we're talking about is just being mindful in the questions that we're asking people, being mindful of what they've been through. So, like you said, being mindful of what your parents have been through and knowing that some of the things that they say to you, they ain't mean it. It's just a result of what they've been taught or what they've been through. But also the same thing can be said to the parents, is being mindful of us in our lives, because we know that parents think that they know everything that we've been through. And yes, to a certain extent they might, but there are still some differences in this time that they need to understand.
You have no idea what dating in 2022 is like, friend. You were married by 23.
That's what I meant. Because they will swear that they've been, yeah, y'all have been through some things, but this right here. And I'm like, you, friend, were married in your 30s. You were already married. You already had your kid. Like, even my grandma, God rest her soul, she already had her kid.
And not just married
and everything.
And kids in your 20s, but you also have purchased a home. You know why? Because homes were like $100,000. That was a fancy home. I can't get a condo for $100,000.
Right. I'm gonna have to bump that up a little bit more, sis.
So also stop asking me when I'm gonna get a house.
Yes.
No. You're gonna you didn't even have McDonald's money. How you gonna put in on this condo?
Well, see, that's another question. When you gonna get a house?
Yeah. Now that is a question I do get. So
listen, do you want me to pay for everything now, sis? My rental property manager does all the work. until I can get what I need to get.
I just had to tell them, so who coming to cut the grass and do all the maintenance?
Right.
Y'all?
Right.
Oh, no? Oh, okay. Leave me alone.
I had that conversation with my parents too. I'm like, so, you ain't cutting the grass right now. So I know when I get me a house, you're not going to be driving all the way over here to cut my grass. I'm going to have to pay somebody else to do it. When anything breaks down, guess what? I'm going to have to pay for it out of my money.
I'm going to actually call my daddy, though. So I think he knows that.
I mean, yeah, but what if he can't fix it? He's going to be like, you need to call the electrician.
Yeah, because especially now that everything's computerized.
Right.
I don't understand. I don't know. I don't know. Love you, Daddy.
Ooh, Lord. Okay, y'all. We're going to wrap this up. So here's a few notes that we have. Like we've been saying this whole time, be mindful of what you're asking and to who you are asking it. So when we go into these family gatherings, if this is somebody you talk to regularly, you might have you might be able to ask them the question the way that you want to ask them. If you ain't close to that person, I need you to take a broader approach. Go in, ask them about their family life, ask them about their businesses, ask them about their work, ask them about something, and then you can try to ease into their relationships, into when they're gonna have kids, into when they're gonna get married, and all this stuff. Because I guarantee you, if you get into a deep enough conversation, we'll tell you. And we'll probably tell you straight up. You might not like our answer, but you got it.
Try asking, is that even something that I want for my life?
Right.
Try asking that.
Whew. But that's it.
That's it.
Be mindful. Just be mindful, y'all. Mindfulness is something we practice in yoga. It's good for you to practice in real life, honey. Be mindful.
I'm taking one step further, right? One of the benefits of having like a yoga practice or a meditation practice is being mindful of self. But I really feel like learning to be more mindful of self, you also can become more mindful of others.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to be asked those dumbass questions. So why are you out here asking other people?
Very true. Very true. And if you get into your meditation deep enough, and you go down a rabbit hole deep enough, yeah, you're not going to be wanting to ask those questions. You don't want nobody to ask you those questions. You don't want nobody to get into all those details.
Mm-mm.
So why do that?
You got your own drama to worry about.
Mm-hmm. The beauty of meditation, being aware of yourself, of your surroundings, and of what you want out of life. That's what we got. So how did you practice self-care during the holidays, Ki?
I took my tablet with me and I would just go and play a game so I could mentally escape. That was it, because sometimes social media isn't as mind-numbing as I want it to be, because it'll take me to another place where I'm thinking about something else.
Right.
So I was just able to what I did a lot of is when the adults got on my nerves, I played with the little kids.
What's wrong with that?
They got cooties. That's probably why I'm coughing there.
That, yes, but the kids allow you to escape to another world. Whatever the world they in, that's where you going. So that's the good thing about hanging out with the kids. The bad thing is you might catch cooties. Yeah. And honestly, I don't know if dealing with the cooties is better than dealing with a bunch of dumb questions. It's the trade-off, what you want. It's what you want.
But yeah, that's what I did. So me and the little boys, my family is full of boys. Lord have mercy. It's so funny because I was saying my mom's side of the family, my mom is 5 girls, but like all these girls had boys. Mm-hmm. There's so many boys in our family. But anyway, so the little boys, they taught me how to Sonic run this week.
Oh, is that what you were doing?
Yep. So we were Sonic running around the neighborhood, wearing me out as I'm trying to wear them out. I'm the winner though, because I had to post a few slump cams of kids just not out.
Seemed like it worked.
If I didn't play my game, then I escaped by just playing with kids.
I mean, it's a form of self-care. I'm proud of you. I know you was tired, but I'm proud of you.
And then I came home and sat in silence. And then today I'm nursing, trying not to let this get any worse.
Understood. I just, my self-care of choice was to watch all of the Christmas movies, all of the Hallmark movies, because, and people don't think about this, but when you're watching, everybody knows how the Hallmark movie starts, and they know how it's going to end. So actually, the Hallmark movies are a great coping mechanism for people with anxiety, because guess what?
I never thought of it that way.
You know what's going to happen. You don't have to guess what's going to happen. You're not stressed out about a thriller. You're not stressed out with a horror movie. You're just sitting there like, oh, I know she's going to find her prince. I know this man going to come back and be Santa Claus. I know this is the love of her life. She done met him 15 years later, but they still love each other. You know, this is good.
I need to find the local Christmas town with the one eligible bachelor that's going to have eyes for me. Like, because listen, watching all these Hallmark movies, they got me convinced that this is a thing. Because it's always the Christmas town, and the girl's there visiting somebody sick, or she got some ties to the town for some reason. And then she meets the one eligible bachelor who, you know, feeds the homeless on Mondays, reads to the kids on Tuesdays, and then on Wednesdays
drives for Thanksgiving and Christmas, donate to the town, all of that stuff.
Yeah. If you are that somebody, I ain't married yet. Get me off this podcast.
All right, y'all. That's it. We gotta go. Y'all know what to do. Share this podcast with your peoples. Share it with your circle. Share it in your stories. When you share it in your stories, tag us, y'all. Tag us. Thank you. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Rate and review the podcast on Apple and Spotify and all those good places. Thank you. That's it. When we post something, y'all engage, okay? Come through and talk to us. We talk back. We do. And that's it. So we just want to remind y'all to always remember to pour into yourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I just want you to know, Ki, that I love you and I hope you feel better, and take care, sis.
Thank you, sis. Stay out of the elements. All of them. People, air, atmosphere, just stay out of them so you don't get sick too.
Well, I got to check in work tomorrow, so I'm just going to wrap up. I don't know.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, y'all. Good night, y'all. Well, good night, Ki. Bye, y'all. We'll talk to y'all next week. Bye.